In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to drill the drill holes in your board. The first thing we'll do is go to the mill menu, having previously set up everything in the previous tutorial, and I will select Tool Change. This will bring the mill head out to an area where we can work with it. We will look at the various parts of the mill here. These are the top stop knobs. These are the bottom stop knobs. This knob adjusts the pressure foot. Turning it in the plus direction raises this pressure foot, which sits on the board when you're milling. This direction lowers the pressure foot. And this is the solenoid knob. We should never have to adjust this knob or these bottom stop knobs for what we're doing here. We will concentrate solely on the top stop knobs and the pressure foot knob. Also, you can see down here this collet. You can spin this with your finger. You'll notice that there is a set screw in that collet. This tool is the Allen wrench that fits into the set screw. Clockwise tightens it, counterclockwise loosens it. It should be loose already. And this tube back here is a vacuum tube. This is attached to a vacuum underneath the mill, which suctions out excess fiberglass dust and copper particles from the mill while you're drilling and milling. Now, going back to the mill, I'm going to press cancel for the time being, and I'm going to go to the mill menu and select the run layer option. Bringing up the select layer screen, I'm going to select the drill layer and push run. Now this brings up the layer tool list. This should have been set previously in the previous tutorials for the correct sizes and speeds. You'll notice here that we start with a 50 mil drill bit, go to a 70, 79, and 125 mils. These last three, since they're larger than 62.5 mils, will be drilled out with what's called a contour router bit. This is just a bit that can drill any size holes by routing them rather than simply drilling them. Now in this list you can, for instance, change the order of the drilling by moving certain drills up or down, as the case may be. You can remove them if you have broken a bit previously. Make sure to remove that bit from the board and clean everything up before you repeat your drilling, but then you can come back, and if you need to only do the 70 mil, you can remove the rest of them. Now when I hit OK, the mill head, if it isn't already, will move out to this position and ask you to insert the first drill bit. So we'll go down to our drilling tools box and select out the closest size bit to 50 mils, which in this case is 49.2 mils. Drill bits, these come in packages of 10, like this. We will pull a drill bit out of that case. This is called a tool grip. This is used to grip that drill bit or any tool that you use with the mill. And this is going to be a two-handed process. You have the drill bit in one hand. Make sure not to drop this drill bit because carbide steel is fragile and will break. We will insert the drill bit with the tool grip, and we can use this Allen wrench to kind of hold it in place if we need to change our grip a little. Make sure that's pushed all the way up, and then use the Allen wrench to tighten the set screw just so it's finger tight, not very tight at all, just so you can't turn it any farther. Now the 50 mil, or rather 49.2 mil drill bit is inserted into the collet properly. For drilling, we are not going to need the pressure foot. See, we are going to raise the pressure foot by turning the pressure foot knob to the left in the plus direction until it's about halfway up to the middle of this vacuum tube, just to get it well out of the way. Then we're going to adjust this top stop knob until the bottom of the drill bit is just about even with the bottom of the vacuum tube. This will make sure that once it goes into the mill, it will not scratch the material or damage your board. So you need to just check that with your eye level. Then, once that's set just like that, we should be able to drill the board. We can just lower that down just a little. Now, you notice the tool change screen and asks us to insert the 50 mil tool, which we did. Just make sure this is set to drill bit, and this should be automatically set. This box we won't use just yet. We can skip this tool if we don't need to drill these holes right away. We could skip and go to the 70 mil, but now we want to drill these holes, so we select OK. Then, since this is set to the right of the board, the mill moves to the right side and drills those holes just as we have instructed it to. Now the mill has come out and it asks for the 70 mil tool. So take our tool grip the tool. You can push and rotate up with your finger to get to that set screw. Grab the tool with the tool grip. Put the Allen wrench into the set screw hole. And we twist this about a rotation counterclockwise. Pull the drill bit out carefully, always carefully, since these can be fragile if they're dropped. We replace the drill bit we just used back into the case that it came from and put that back in the milling tool supplies. Now we're going to select the 62.5 mil carbide router, since we don't have any drill bits that are larger than that. And this is the exact same process. Grab it with the tool grip, insert it all the way up into the collet as far as it will go. You can use your finger here, but just be careful not to poke it. The ends of these can be sharp. Hold that in place while we turn that clockwise to tighten the screw. And now the contour router is set in there just like a drill bit. Now when we go back to the screen, we're going to need to select the little checkbox that says use contour router instead of drill. That should already be set at 62.5 mils. Now for the speed, we're going to change this to 10 just to slow it down and make sure everything routes correctly. And when we select OK, the system will ask us if we want to route the remaining large holes. This just means, do you want it to ask you each time to route the different sizes, or do you want to route everything that's larger than 62.5 mils all at once? In this case we do, so we select yes. Now the mill will go and route the remaining holes in our board. See, it first pushes down and then it rotates the router bit so that the correct hole size is cut. For your boards, this process will undoubtedly take much longer than this. However, for the purposes of the tutorial, this board is small in size and has relatively few holes, so that we can get this done in an expedient manner. You can see it's now going through the process of drilling all the different size holes that we've asked it to. Right now it's drilling some corner mount holes. And of course the size and complexity of your PCB will determine the amount of time this takes to complete this and all drilling and milling procedures. Once the board is done being drilled, it will return to the home position. So what you want to do now is return to the mill menu, select the tool change option, and we will remove the contour router bit. In the same way we remove all the bits, grab it with the tool grip, turn the set screw counterclockwise, carefully remove the bit, and replace it back in the package from which you got it. Now the drilling procedure is complete. If you were drilling and one of your drill bits broke, You don't necessarily have to stop the machine right there in the middle of doing everything. You can let it complete that drill bit. Then when it asks you to drill the remaining holes, just skip those and then do a material change and take a pair of needle nose pliers or some other tool. You will need to remove the broken drill bit from the board, and then you would of course replace the drill bit in the mill and run the layer again, skipping everything but the drills that weren't completed correctly. If the holes are already drilled, the drill bit will just go through and drill those holes again, so the smaller ones than the one that was broken are not necessary. And if it needs to repeat some of the holes that were drilled correctly before it broke, that's okay. Or you can just continue with the process. However, if you have a drill bit and it hits one of the broken pieces of the drill bit in the board, it's going to break again. So just make sure before you re-drill anything that you've removed any broken pieces that might be left in the board. Okay, so we're going to go back now, and we're going to press cancel to leave the tool in the tool change position, in which I'm going to explain the process of preparing the machine and the milling bit for milling your board.